Let's dive into Packers 49ers. Pete, tell me why the Packers are winning.
Again, I always go back to quarterback play, and it's a passers and pass rusher league, and I think the Packers have both. Rodgers hasn't been Rodgers. We saw glimpses of it last week, and I think that's going to travel. The first time they played him, it was one of those games where you go out there and you get ambushed in a regular season game. It's different. This is a different animal. And that day, the Packers were awful. And part of the reason was Brian Bulaga played 10 plays. And when he's not on the field, that's a different offensive line. When Bulaga and Bakhtiari are on the field together, it's a good offensive line. When one of them isn't there, it struggles. And I think that showed up in a big way. Rodgers got flustered. They couldn't move the football. They were terrible on third down. That's not going to be the same way here. I love the 49ers pass rush, but I think if you block them, and I think they're capable of blocking them, you can make plays against that secondary, particularly Rodgers. So on the other side of the ball, I think it's going to be one of those games where Mike Pettin says, Jimmy Garoppolo, go ahead and beat me. And if he beats him, kudos to him. But if you're in a playoff game and I get Aaron Rodgers and you have Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers. That's why I'm taking the Packers.
My lean is Niners minus 7.5. I'm not putting anything on it for a couple of reasons. One, I mentioned earlier the 10-3 record for underdogs when the line is this high, 7+ in the conference championship. So I'm a little frightened about laying points, but I do think the Niners are the better team. Plus, I already have the money line at minus 110 because last week I put San Fran to win NFC, 110 to win 100. So I'm just going to roll with that as my bet on the quote-unquote spread in this game. But the reason I like him is that the weighted DVOA says this line should be about 7 on a neutral. Niners are just a much better team overall. They had no trouble scoring points against that Green Bay defense back in November. Packers obviously did. We can talk about why. There was some thoughts about some people were out a little bit too late that weekend, and that's why they struggled. But
that was the
Chargers one.
The Chargers game.
Well, I mean, they're back in California.
Yeah.
Whatever reason, they haven't played well in California this year. So that defense looked great last week, rejuvenated. Ford's back, Juan's back. They didn't play 100% of the snaps, but, I mean, you get a rotation with Ford anyway. Packers do have a huge edge in the red zone. So if they win the game, we're going to look back and say defense stood up in the red zone and the offense got it done in the red zone, and that's why they won. But 49ers dominate the rest of the stats. So I would lay it with a 7.5, but I'm not super strong on it, and I'm just going to ride my bet from last week.
My son has burst into the office for the second straight podcast.
He's a big Packers fan.
Well, then go get some Oreos yourself and you can have them. I got a podcast. Go get them. Just go grab them. They're on the counter.
What's he want?
Goldfish. Oh my gosh.
Go get the goldfish. Get the goldfish. I want some goldfish.
You want some goldfish? We're out of goldfish. We're out of veggie sticks. You just have to eat Oreos for dinner. Sorry, go eat Oreos.
That's what happens when you lose money betting on an NFL.
Yeah, look at Brinson. He can't even afford to feed his kid anymore.
We ate them all. I just ate all the goldfish, if we're being perfect.
Oh, my gosh. You ate the kid's goldfish. What the heck is wrong with you?
Well, he likes to eat the red and green ones. I eat the yellow ones. He just likes the colored ones. I like the regular orange ones. So we split them. Now, the Cheez-Its, I'm not supposed to eat the Cheez-Its, and I eat all the Cheez-Its. So I don't know what to say. I don't think I've eaten. I've maybe had a handful of Cheez-Its since I got stuck on that plane, and that's all there was that one time for 8.5 hours. I'm not saying there were 2 boxes of Cheez-Its at our house yesterday. That was tragic. Yeah, it was all about you. You ate 8. Oh, it's always about me. You ate 8.5. 2 boxes of Cheez-Its in our house 2 days. Oh, ago. I thought you said 8.5 boxes. I was going to say, what the heck's wrong with you? There were no boxes of Cheez-Its here now. I blame it on my son. So for this game, I think that I struggle with this a little bit because to me, it is very clear that the 49ers are the much better team and that the things that the Packers did in this game, did against the Seahawks, which is convert long third downs, get dime throws from Aaron Rodgers, and go up against a passive offense that decided to run the ball for the entire first 3 quarters of the game before realizing they were down, or first 2 quarters, before realizing they were down 21-3 and needed to let Russ cook. All these things are what San Francisco is going to exploit about the Packers. Like the 49ers are going to be aggressive on offense. They're going to run the ball, like do all kinds of crazy motion and blocking schemes with Kyle Shanahan's offense. They're going to utilize George Kittle in the play action and as a guy who blocks downfield because he's basically like, he's not better than Gronk. That would be insane, but he is sort of the next Gronk in terms of his skill set and what he can do. And we might even be underrating him at this point. Emmanuel Sanders feels like he's healthy. Deebo Samuel makes some kind of big play every game. Tevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert, Matt Breida, they're just not going to run out of these backs. They're speed backs who can catch a pass. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is intimidated about anything anymore. They're at home. I'm taking $228 on a money line parlay, or whatever the numbers are now, RJ. You're giving me minus 150. I'm taking the Chiefs and the 49ers on the money line parlay. This feels like the really public and stupid thing to do, to expect these teams to win just outright, but I don't care. I just think it's a mismatch for both teams, and I trust the coaching, and I trust the quarterback play and the schematic differences that the Chiefs and the 49ers have. And I'm also going to do a little kind of a crazy parlay here. I'm going to take an alternate spread parlay for $50. Chiefs minus 13.5, 49ers minus 13.5. If they both win by 2 touchdowns, it's 7-1. $50 on that to win $406.13. Your thoughts on that boldness?
I could see that happening. I could see the Chiefs winning by that spread. By the way, my 2 bets, since we've gone through the 2 games, my 2 bets are $150. I have $300 left. $150 parlay. Chiefs minus the 7.5. Packers plus the 7.5. $150 parlay. Chiefs minus the 7.5. Packers on the money line to win the game outright.
And that, the second one that Pete's referring to. So Pete is taking his $300 and he's shoving all in on the conference championship games with 2 parlays. So this is
what could go wrong?
In or out?
This is an ideal scenario for RJ. Is that like he just has to root for, like he doesn't have to root for one outcome not to be true. Your parlay would pay, the regular parlay with the points would pay 2.5-1 or whatever it is. Your other parlay with the money line on the Packers as a huge dog would pay about 7-1. So if you hit both of those, you're right back in.
I'm in it going to the Super Bowl, and we know how I did on the Super Bowl last year.
Well, and don't forget too that RJ's taking $150 on the Titans. So like if the Chiefs hit, that's he would fall back to close to 1,000 there, and you would be taking.
I'd probably be in first place
if you get the second one. Yeah.
Unless Sammy Watkins catches 3 touchdown passes.
Well, then we're all done.
I got a couple of props in this one too.
What's more likely? What's a more likely outcome? In seriously, I know the odds are favor of the Packers, but Packers winning outright or Sammy Watkins catching 3 touchdowns.
Packers.
The Packers by like
by
10.
a million.
Yeah.
Before we move to props, let's talk about the total. The total for the game is 45. What do you think about that?
That's a tough total for me because I don't think there's going to be a ton of points in the game, but I'd probably lean to right around that number.
Yeah, I'm going to go 50 on the under. I figure all the main bets people bet on spreads, totals, whatever. I should bet on all of them since I got all these points. I see this as similar to the Vikings-49ers game. Green Bay's only going to score like 10-17. 49ers will score 23, 20-28, something around that. And 45 seems like on the high end of my expectations. I kind of see it more as like a 38-point game, even if the Niners do cover. So Rodgers doesn't throw picks, so it's going to take a lot of long drives for San Francisco to score, and chewing up clock, you get less points when you're chewing up clock on long drives. So I think under is probably my lean there, $50. I'm not putting anything on the spread in this game. Like I said, I had the minus 110 bet from earlier, so 50 on the under for the total.
Team totals by the way in this game, the Packers team total 18.5. That's where you should be putting your money on, Pete, because if they don't score 21 points, they ain't winning this game.
No, they'll get over that. I only have $300. I'm in.
And he's trying to make up ground too. I mean, getting a flat bet isn't going to help him too much.
You get paid $600, you're right back in it.
He ain't got 600. He got 300.
If the Packers score 19 points, you'd have 600.
I like my bet the way it is.
You
worry about your own bad bets, Brinson.
49ers team total 26.5. I like that. I like that team total over. Look, here's the problem for me is that in this game, I think what the 49ers have shown repeatedly is that if they can get up on you and uncork the pass rush, they're just going to smother you. And it's really hard to come back against this team. Now, if Green Bay doesn't make mistakes, they made mistakes early in that game on Monday night in San Francisco. I get it. I don't think it's going to be a replica of it. And Kyle Shanahan talked about today. He's like, people were like, he was asked, we talked about it on Wednesday, excuse me. He was asked, like, what do you do? The Packers are playing much better football than they were. He's like, they were playing pretty good football when they came in the first time. They just didn't get out to a great
That
start.
was a Monday night game, though, wasn't it? If I remember.
It was a Monday night.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a different animal going someplace on a Monday night. It just is.
How about going somewhere else on a Sunday night for a playoff for an
It's
AFC
playoffs.
NFC?
It's different. It's different. Monday night is an ambush.
I mean, somebody should be able to play well on Monday night.
It's usually, but you travel.
Hall of Fame level quarterback.
I know. I think Monday nights are usually.
travel.
They were bad. Plus, they didn't have Balaga either. That matters.
The 49ers didn't have D Ford and who else?
I don't care. Balaga is much more valuable having him in the lineup than D Ford is having him in the lineup. Quan Alexander wasn't there then either, but I don't think they really. I mean, the way those other guys, Greenlaw and those guys played, they did. I don't know if they missed them as much as people think they did.
What is the game script for the Packers to win?
Attack the other side away from Richard Sherman.
Okay.
Those guys, whoever plays over there is vulnerable. Whoever it is.
Aaron Rodgers was asked about this. I thought it was an interesting comment. I tweeted it out. Some people were like, "What's wrong with you? You didn't say anything." But I think if you listen to him, you can see that he was asked about what he's gonna do. Wow, great stat here via Pro Football Focus. Throwing at Richard Sherman in his career, Aaron Rodgers 11 of 17, 107 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, a 57.7 pass. Do not throw at Richard Sherman. God bless you, Pete.
Yeah, I got a cough, so
it's fine. So the thing Rodgers pointed out, he's like, there's stuff that teams did earlier in the season to mitigate the pass rush. Like, do you think they're going to bootleg him out? Or are they going to try and do screens? Or is it Quan Alexander helps a ton with those screens, like being back in that lineup? Because if you saw him against the Vikings, he pursued Dalvin Cook. He snuffed those out early. Do you think they bootleg Rodgers? Are they trying to get him on the run a little bit? Is he too old for that? I don't think they just let him sit in the pocket, right?
Well, I mean, get the ball out. He got hit a lot last week. He got brutalized in the last meeting. I think you got to get the ball out. I think Jimmy Graham looked like Jimmy Graham last week. That hadn't happened all year.
Like what, 2014?
Yeah, I mean, he looked good last week. Get him the ball.
He took him like 4.8 seconds to get 10 yards.
What did he have? What did he have catch-wise last week?
I just don't think that matters. He
it
caught
does
like
matter.
He was okay. Well, then why don't you take the over on Jimmy Graham pass yards or receiving yards? Let's talk about some props.
Because I don't have any money left. I put it in. It is what it is, Brinson. Quit trying to talk me out of my bets. You worry about your own bad bets.
No, I'm just pointing out that you have no money left. I'm making you point out that you have no money left. That's right. RJ, you got any props in this game?
Yeah, I got a few player props. I went under on both the quarterbacks for 25, under 239.5 yards for Rodgers. His yards per attempt's been down in the second half. He's facing a great pass D, like we just said with Sherman. I just don't see that there's going to be a ton of yardage there on his side. And then Garoppolo, I don't think he's going to have to throw a bunch. We saw last week he didn't have to throw a bunch to win that game. 49ers want to run. The line says that he's not going to throw much. So his line is 249.5. I think he goes under. I'm putting 25 on both of those.
Jimmy Graham, by the way, averaged 16.3 yards per catch last week. Just putting it out there.
Okay.
How many catches did he have?
3.
Playing a much better defense this week.
True.
And then my other one was Mostert. I have 25 in him going over 53.5. I know they like to mix their running backs up, but he's had 53 plus in each of his last 6 games. He had double-digit carries in each of those games. So he is getting the work, and it's working out for him. So that Green Bay defense ranks 24th in yards per attempt, so I can see him, again, having a good yards per carry on 10-plus attempts and getting over.
Much better the second half of the season, though.
Mm-hmm.
Packers.
I like that Mostert prop.
I like that Mostert prop, too.
I'm going to take the over on George Kittle receiving yards at 72.5. I think he can exploit a weakness, and they'll like to get him in the middle, and he can break those big plays. I am also going to I'm going to do $52 on that. It's a weird budgetary thing. Don't worry about it. I'm going to take $50 on Devontae Adams to score a touchdown at plus 165. If he's shadowed by Richard Sherman, that's going to be a problem. But I don't think
they won't do that. They don't usually do that.
Right, Sherman's.
I'd be shocked if he does that.
No, Sherman's going to sit on one side, and so like you saw what they did against the Seahawks. They moved him to the slot and he torched people. So I think he'll get his, and I think he'll get a receiving touchdown. So I'm going to take 50 on him to catch a touchdown at plus 165. I'm also going to take $50 on George Kittle to score a touchdown, and the Niners to win. That's a player touchdown parlay plus 160. So $50 to win. 80 there.
I would take what is the sack number on Zadarius Smith?
Oh,
because whatever it is, he's getting it.
You know what?
I don't know that they have individual numbers.
They don't have that.
Usually it says like total sacks in the game.
Oh, they don't have that on. I think the interior of the 49ers line is very suspect. Very suspect. And I think they're going to attack that. Kenny Clark's been playing out of his mind the last 6, 7, 8 weeks, too. It's a different Packer team. That's why it won't be anything close to what it was last time. I mean, it wouldn't shock me to see the Niners win the game. Not at all. I think they're a good team.
It would shock you to see.
No, I'm picking the Packers. No, because I picked the Packers, and so. But again, sometimes you go into a game. It would shock me to see the Titans win. That would shock me. It shocked me to see the Titans beat the Ravens last week, even though I took the Titans with the points. It shocked me that they won the game. But it wouldn't shock me to see I mean, I think the 49ers are the favorite, but it would shock me if the Titans won. That would shock me.